Okay, welcome to the 10th common session of SunoikisisDC Digital Classics. Today we go back to talk about inscriptions and digital inscriptions with Professor Michèle Brunet from the University of Lyon. I have to say that Professor Brunet has been a very active faculty member of SunoikisisDC Digital Classics since the beginning, and I have to thank her. Yes, because we have been developing many interesting things. Last year, for SunoikisisDC Digital Classics 2015, we had 2 intense weeks of work in the island of Thasos, organized by Professor Brunet as part of the Visible Worlds workshop, and we joined as SunoikisisDC Digital Classics. We were there in Thasos, working in the archaeological sites, in the epigraphic museum. Everything is online, you can see, so it was really a great experience. Yes, for working with real material. And I have also to say that SunoikisisDC Digital Classics has been approved at the University of Lyon, where they offer, yeah, from next year until 2020, if I remember correctly. So it's part of your courses. You can offer Sunoikisis to students to the Master Le Monde Ancien. If,
yes.
Yes. Okay. So thank you, Michèle. And so now you can start. Today the title of the common session is Inscriptions in Lucian's True Stories. Thank you, Michèle, and welcome.
Thank you, Monica, and hi, everybody. So today, I begin with my screen share, and I hope I will be able to do it. Is it okay for you?
Yes, I can see.
Okay.
Screen.
Inscription in Lucian's True Stories. Do you see it?
Michèle, wait, now I see you, but not the screen. Try again. It happens. No problem.
Okay, so I'm coming back, and maybe I will close this. So you are presenting to everyone. So now, where is it? Where I can screen share? Okay. So where is my? Do you see here something?
No, I still see you. So.
Okay. So how will we solve this problem?
No, because it happens. So maybe your slides are. So you don't have to use the slides in the entire screen. This is the only. You're using a Mac, if I remember. So maybe. So don't put the slides in full screen.
Oh, okay.
That's the problem. You don't have to put them in full screen and then try again to share with.
But I have to have only one screen open. Is that is this the problem? If I have another screen open, that will be.
No. You can have as many screens open as you want. The only thing is that you don't have to use the full screen option. I don't know if you know.
Can you see it now?
No, I still see you. Try again with the
screen share.
The green. It happens, so it's not the first time, so don't worry.
Because I see many screens.
You have to screen share, and then you have to choose the option Écran.
Here it is.
Yes, okay, it works. Now I see your screen, and then now you have to go to your slides.
Okay. So where that's very.
No, it's good. You have only to choose now. You have to start the slides.
Okay. So where is it? I close everything and I open my PDF. Do you see it?
No, I still see your screen, but not the PDF.
try. Oof. Again.
No, now I see you.
Oh, yes, I'm back.
Okay.
So again, do I share with the PC? PC, démarrer le partage d'écran.
Okay. Now, okay. Now you have to choose the other window because now I see your. Okay.
Something is coming.
Something
was here.
Yes, now is perfect.
What is it? Going away like this? Oh, what's that? I don't understand why it's so. Because I have the choice between PC and Google Hangouts.
No, you have to choose PC. PC. You have to choose PC, definitely.
Démarrer le partage d'écran.
Okay. And now you have to open the PDF.
Yes.
Okay, open the PDF.
The PDF.
Okay, now is good. Now is.
Oh, good. So fast.
Excellent. Thank you. Don't worry, it happens.
Thank you. So today I want to present you some work we have been doing since the beginning of the year with my students in Lyon, who are students of the master degree Lettres Classiques. So we decided to study a very interesting book, study that makes translation and also commentaries, True Stories 1 and 2. We focused until now on the second book, the True Story 2, but for today we will have to go back to the first true story because there are some inscriptions inside the first book. So why did we choose the true stories? It's because the Greek is not too difficult and because it's a marvelous book about intertextuality. And my students are students of literature. They are studying literature, so they are primarily interested in this kind of subject, intertextuality. So we designed, as it was also some digital course, we decided to design a shared digital environment. And so we had an Evernote little book, Zotero group library, and we shared information using Trello to plan work and so on. What we did at the beginning of the year was to read the books, the second one, True Story 2, and make a general visualization of using the Xmind software, which is free, and that's something very interesting. So this was a way to take to go deeper inside the book and have a general visualization of the content and also of what was the intertextuality was made of. Maybe you can see all the references that are under Lucian True Story and with the major reference that is Homer, of course. But there is also Aristophanes and historians, because Lucian was, Lucianos was very interested by history and not only with stories. So Lucian, to go quick, a few words about the author himself. You will find in Wikipedia his full a page about him, and this page, as all the pages in Wikipedia, you can read it in all the languages. So sometimes for students, it's quite a good and interesting exercise to compare the Wikipedia pages in different language, because there are not always the same information inside, and it's quite interesting to have this kind of comparison. So the true stories, I don't know if you had time to read them in translation, at least. Just quick remind what it is. It's a story of a group of men making a journey to the sky or to the moon. It's not really precise. And they have many adventures, risks, and some bad adventures, some very delightful adventures. They sojourn in time in the belly of a whale, and they have in the second book, a very long stay among the very illustrious dead of the Isle of the Blessed Men. So it's also, of course, a journey inside books, as you saw with my X-Mind design. So inside books and references. And as Bowersock wrote, it's a literary entertainment that has been designed by a very clever and smart author for smart and educated readers. And it aims to provoke some reflection, food for thought, and he himself says that at the beginning of, in the introduction of the first book. So that's what I underlined here in yellow. And as you see, the general principle of the true stories is that the author says that everything is in his book is false, is fake, is forgery, and the only truth is that the narrator is a liar. So this fiction is presented as a record of real events, and what Lucian describes inevitably reflects also, all too obviously, the real world in which he lives. And that's why I thought it would be very interesting to see how this man, who was living in the 2nd century of our area, what was his prospect, and what he was looking at when he was looking at inscription, because at that time there were inscriptions in Greek or in Latin, and it traveled a lot among the Roman Empire. So he saw inscription in very various languages, and I thought that would be interesting to see inscription with Lucian's eyes. So let's begin with the general principle of the true stories writing. So it's a book about what we now call intertextuality. How does it work? You have the reference, the prototype, and you make or a quotation that is a quite exact copy or replica, or you make what is called in English a citation. That is, you make an allusion to a real reference with variation or derivation. And we will see that we saw with the students that in the true stories there are many more citations, that is, allusions to situations, book, references, episodes, and less quotation, that is, less real reference to some real text. as far as we know, because we don't have all the references. And sure, Monica knows many more things about this problematic. But I just want to have a glimpse here in the system that is not only used for intertextuality, but also you can see that sometimes, and until nowadays, we still use this system of allusions, and that was a publicity for that was shown a few years ago for Dior, and that was an allusion to this very famous picture from Manet. So I just here quote myself. Two articles, the first one by David Bayman and Greg, published in 2008, about the logic and discovery of textual allusion. Why am I quoting this article, and more generally what he says, what they say in this article? They are proposing in this paper a system to retrieve automatically with an algorithm and a machine system quotation and allusions. That is, to go from one text to another text, that suppose that all these texts are already put into excuse me, that these texts are already digitalized and accessible by machines. The second quotation reference is to a blog. David Bayman say that he wants to go a little further and say, what is it we want to compare? Strings of characters or topic model? And I wanted today to say that we will go on this side of topic model when we will, in a few minutes, look closer to this problematic of how we can see the way Lucianos was using inscription in his True Stories book. It's the middle ground between these two that I think is the most interesting, and I think it may be a powerful area in which to think about text reuse. Between strings and topic models lies higher level latent structure in text, coarser than that of an individual string, but much finer than that of an entire document. So let's now focus on inscription, saying that these inscriptions that are mentioned in the two books of the True Stories are suddenly we see that Lucianos plays not only with textual quotation, citation, references, but also with other dimensions of inscription. And that's the moment at the time, the right time, to recall that inscriptions are not only text, but are also artifacts, and were designed to be displayed in a topos, that is, in a very special place that was part of the original design for the people who wanted to show these inscriptions in public space. So I don't know if you had time to look for the inscription in the two true stories books. I give you already the result for this search. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sure inscription. They are sure inscription because there is the mention of the support, that is stele calcu, stili electrini, and mention of epigraphy, and you see on the third one stellas ep auton, and the sixth one could be an inscription, but there is no mention of the support, of the artifact, of the monument, so I let it on side unless Louis Robert wrote an article about this only, what he thought to be the only inscription inside the true story. So today we will focus on the other 5 examples, and let's look now what is the use made by Lucianos of inscription. Is it okay until now? You hear me?
Yes, Michèle, it is perfect. We hear you. We can see the slides.
Okay.
So thank you. I can say that yes, it's very interesting and very fascinating.
Thank you. So I go on.
I'm very interested in text reuse, so I'm following you, and so excellent.
So the first example is in the first book. The A is for first, and the chapter 7. And so I framed in red the Greek abstract, and on the other side you can see the translation. So what is the first example, the first inscription appearing in the book is, you see, Lucianos says, when we had gone forward through the wood about 3 furlongs from the sea, we saw a stelen calcu, a slab of bronze inscribed with Greek letters, Hellenikois grammasin, katagegrammenen, faint and obliterated, amudrois dekai ektetrimenois, which said, Legusan, to this point came Hercules and Dionysus, Archi touton Heracles kai Dionysos afficonto. So I try to translate using some digital words or concept. What are the information that we can find in this small passage? So you see that Lucianos is very cautious to give us a precise location, a description of the monument, and we can speak of the object type, stili calcu, the language, Hellenikois grammasin, Greek letters, and also he speaks also of the state of preservation, condition, and all these entries of metadata. I found them in the Eagle vocabulary gazetteer. We will speak about it later. So what can it be? This inscription with a very quick mention of Archi touton Heracles kai Dionysos afficonto. I would say that if we try to categorize it, it's an oros, a boundary stone, like real ones that existed in the Greek world. And here is one of the most famous of these horror stone, the one which was on one side of the Athenian agora, saying, I am the oros of the agora. but and stili calcu, that's, you remember, the second characteristic of this inscription. It's a stele and it's in bronze. So the bronze, when you look closer to example of bronze support, you find that it's very rare in the Greek world because of the cost, and that generally they were used only for very solemn documents, and that's information I found in the guide An Introduction to Greek Epigraphy, Maclean, published in 2002. So let's go further, and we will see that every time the principle of the use of inscription made by Lucianos is that he is using something that is true and mixed it with something that is much more impossible or difficult or sometimes really fake. So let's have now the second. I go, that's only to show you that for the other example, I will go straight to the two other examples I want to focus on. But in the meantime, I have put slides about the other inscriptions so that in the PowerPoint there is way and place if someone wants to make comments about also these all the fifth inscriptions that are in the true stories. So by now I go straight to the second inscription I wanted to focus on and to speak about. That is the inscription, which is a very long one, first book, chapter 20, and everybody, every editor understands that it's an inscription and present it on the page as it is a document that is included in the book of Lucian. So you can see it on the way the editor of the Loeb collection has placed at the bottom the names of people who sweared the orkos, the oath for this treaty, and he put it just as if it was the transcription of a quite real inscription where names could have been displayed as lists. But on the Greek side of the text, the names are quite on the line, and there is no difference in the way it is presented. So maybe you had time to read the text in translation, at least during in the time I was making my introduction. So what are syntekai? It's treaty, alliance, and it happened in the Greek world when after a war, of course, and here it's the end of the war between the people of the moon and the people of the sun. So let's look at and try to answer to our question in this inscription that is meant to be included in the book. What is true? What is wrong? The only way to check what could be true, what could be wrong, is to look at real syntekai. Where can we find syntekai, syntekas? We can go to the Perseus Digital Library to look for Synteke in the Little Scott Dictionary. So I think that everybody knows how you can look for a word in the Perseus Digital Library. You can in this box write with beta code, and you will go straight to the Synteke definition that is in the dictionary. And from the definition, you can go also to the second very interesting tool that is available in the Perseus Digital Library. That is the word frequency information. That is very useful for the inquiry we are making now, because you see at once that the word Synteke, and generally in you will see that it's a plural that is used mostly by historians, Polybian and historians and orators, but political orators. And we can see that sometimes, so here we can look closer to what are the quotations of Polybius in the books of Polybius, the use he makes of syntekas. And here is you go closer and closer to something that is after we look at Thucydides, and at the end we will go to another very interesting resource looking for syntekas. It's the epigraphy Pacum, or that everybody calls PHI, the Hewlett-Packard Inscriptiones Graecae, available on the web since a very long time. So everybody knows that this very useful resource is not really what we call an edition, a critical edition, as it's only the digitalization of of the edition that are from the EJ, the existing editions of inscription. But it's very useful until we have entirely new editions of all the inscription that are now in the PHI website. It will take a long time. So until now, we will still have to use the PHI database, and we can search for Synte. So you just write in the box at the bottom, click on search, and you will have an answer showing that in many inscriptions, that is in all regions of ancient Greece, you have 440 matches in 2,213 texts with the word syntekas. And here you can go closer to another example and see and read one example of syntekai of the 4th century BC in Attica. And if you read it all together and with all the example, and that's the only way to compare with the Lucianus text, you will understand very quickly where is the truth and where is the forgery in Lucianus' true story. The answer to this question is that there are too many things all together put all together in the true story Synthekas, written by Lucianos. So Lucian, made too much. He made a fake Synthekas inscription with too many things that are concluded. This treaty can be so complete. It's a patchwork of all the treaties existing with all the possible clauses that you will find in different treaties. So now, let's, is it okay? May I go on? Do you have questions?
Yes, no, I can just add that it's interesting because synthekai is a technical term of the Greek lexicon of war and peace, and it's extraordinarily interesting how Lucian uses it and transforms it in his work. So thank you for this example, which is really very interesting. He plays with words, and in this case, technical term. So
he plays with the words, but also with real inscription, and he can't have make such a fake inscription unless he has read many real one. And the conclusion is also that people, to understand what he means with this fake inscription, has to know what are inside real one. And that's what we will see with the second example. On the second book, chapter 28, the stele on the Isle of the Blessed, l'île des Bienheureux, the people who are dead but were it's the VIP, very important people, all together gathered in death. So if we take this particular abstract passage, we will ask the same question: what is true? What is wrong? So the text says that the other day the narrator went towards Homeros, asking him if he could write for him distikon epigramma, that is to say, a short poem in 2 lines. And when Homeros has created it, epoiesen, wrote it, he, the narrator, anastasas epigrapsa, that is the narrator, he built a stelen verilou lithu, and wrote on it the poem, so engraved on it the poem Homer had composed for him, and he put it pros to Limeni, that is not far from the port. And then he tells us, here was this poem, and you have 2 lines: Lucianos tade panda philos macaresi theoisin, eidete kai palinelte philen espatrida Gaian. The translation: Lucian, dear to the blessed gods, saw all these things and went back to his dear homeland. So the questions we have to ask now are: what is the definition of an epigramma? Generally speaking, not only in inscription, and everybody knows that it's a whole continent to distinguish or to study epigraphical epigrammas and literary epigrams, and there are many scholars studying the interlinks and relationships between the two domains. Let's speak like that. So we have a general definition of what is an epigramma. Is this Lucian, dear to the blessed God, the two lines, is it a canonical epigram? The Stilin Beriluli too. What is this material? I put it in green. You will understand why in a few minutes. And Prostolimeni, is it a canonical location for such a text? And how is it written? So we have to remember that it's Homer who wrote this short couplet. So how is it made and what is it made of? And at the end, the general question is, with all these suggested questions, what does Lucian want his clever reader to understand when he writes these few lines? So let's begin with the green Stelen Berilu Litu. The beryl, stele made of beryl. The beryl, here you are, you have beryl. It's the sea green color gem, what is also called aquamarine. And what is quite interesting is that you immediately understand, looking at it, at this picture, that it is quite impossible or very, very, very difficult to engrave anything on such a small piece of but because it's a gem, so it's not meant to be very big as more common stone where you can write, engrave letters and inscription. Then what is also very, very interesting is that Pliny the Elder singles out that this beryllos is likely to be counterfeit. So again, we are in this general mood of Lucian's writing, that is to say, beware, I'm speaking truth, lying, and I am a liar, so everything I'm telling about can be also something that is something fake. So after, let's look at disticon epigramma. Generally speaking, so we are back in the resources provided by the Perseus. You have the definition in the Liddell Scott, both epigramma and distikos. And distikos, you can see that generally speaking, you speak of a couple of lines and a couple of meters, and most of the time you have to have an hexameter with a pentameter. And here, if you look closer to what is written by Homer, you can see that Homer knows nothing about pentameter and is only able to write dozens of thousands of hexameters. So this epigramma is not really a canonical one. So now let's look at how it is made and search for here textual quotation. We find Maka, and the exact quotation of Philos Makaresi Theoisin, not only in Homer, but also, as you see, using the retrieval tools, that you can find this expression also in Aristophanes, Hesiod, and many other authors. And I've been using this Homer Contact website. Does any of you know this website? Because I found it very useful, because it gave to me very quickly the result of how many times I could find this half hexameter in the Iliad, and how many times also in the Odyssey. Do you use this website? Any of you?
No?
I haven't seen it before. Thank you for the link, and I'm giving you a link for another similar database of early epic, the Chicago Homer. It is very useful, especially for formulas. And I will check this Homer Contact. It looks very useful too.
Yes, it's that's why I use this, because I wanted to ask you if you find it, if you used it before. So let's go on. Is it okay until now?
Yes, perfect.
Okay. So let's come back. What is true? What is wrong? We have seen that we have a very strange material, a definition with an epigram which is not so canonical, and the question is it a stele with a funerary epitaph in the form of an epigram? Because as we are in the boundary, exactly the limeni, the port here, the location, means that we are just at the border between the isles of the dead man and the real world, the world where the people are human beings and where they are living. So we are between death and life. So when you find such an epigram at that precise location, you may ask yourself if it's a stele with a epitaph, funerary, in the form of an epigram, or is it something else that could be maybe a signature. So just to check if there are some comparison possible with such an expression, with someone speaking of himself with his name at the first place, Lucianos, and what he's saying. I came and I went back. So I have been looking for many parallels, and I choose one just to show you that sometimes some people who write a long poem in hexameter, speaking of themselves, this kind of poetry, we can surely find it for dead people. The example is a very famous one too. It's a patron's tomb in Rome. Now the inscriptions are kept in the Louvre. So before, the tomb was in a very charming environment, an amoenus locus, and inside the tomb there were paintings that are also in the Louvre, showing all the patron who was a doctor, a medicine, living in the 1st century BC. So he has painted all his family, who was also buried near him in this family tomb outside the gates of Rome, and 2 slabs with inscription. And I just wanted to focus on 2 lines. That is also a couplet, but that time it's we would say a canonical epigram using the alternance of hexameters and pentameters, and we see that Patron is speaking about himself, making a kind of conclusion of his life, saying, I patrol all the things that are pleasant to human beings. I accomplished them until I have also a very nice place in Hades's home. So he is speaking of his death, of the place where he is inside this, the topon, and the inscription is reflexive, as it's in the on the tomb that the epigram is speaking about the topos where the tomb is. So coming back with all the parallels, with all the tools we used, we can, I think, better understand what is now the intention of the allusion made by Lucian in the lines we were reading together. The answer to the question, what is true, what is wrong, what is fake, what is the truth, is this stela is a forgery. That is, it is made with an impossible material, beryl, which can be also counterfeit. The epigram is not a very canonical one. The text is a patchwork of Homeric citations. It looks like an epitaph, and we have to remember that we are at the exact border of the eyes of the blessed dead man, but what claims the epitaph is not I am dead, just as Patron said I am dead but I'm glad because my life was beautiful. Lucian says I came and I went away, so he's not yet dead, and this cannot be a funerary monument or an epitaph. So the only thing that is real in all this forgery, it's Lucian's name, and it's very interesting to note that it's the only place in the two books where Lucian speaks of himself using his own name. So this is not an epitaph. This is a signature, and the text could rather be categorized as a votive or honorific inscription. And that's where I wanted to come with you, is that we have, when we are speaking of inscription, we have to categorize these inscriptions. And that will be my third part of this speech. So I want to ask you if you are still here with me and if you have questions about what I spoke about until now.
Yes, we are still here. I don't know if there are questions.
Is it okay?
Yes, no, it's perfect. And,
okay, so I go on.
Yeah.
I go on with this topic of now the question of classifications, because we understood with the example I just spoke about that Lucian plays with this question of categories, because he makes just as if the inscription was funerary, but he makes everything to make people understand that it's rather an honorific inscription and written by Homer himself. So he's very proud of what he's doing, because Homer himself gives him a poem to say you are a great man and you are not dead yet. So when we are editing inscription now in a digital environment and using Epidoc and using all these systems we are using together, we know how important is the question of classification. And I just show you here a page which I found in MacLean's book, which is quite a recent one. And you can understand, looking at this list of categories of or classes, that it can be very useful. It can be very useful or very usable by a machine trying to look for things and look for results. You can't put on the same line or at the same level all these categories, let's say sacred laws, and this very annoying category which is other sacred inscription. So what could be used for books and for indexes in books is no more possible now that we are using a machine, and that we have to think about the question of interoperability between our requesters and searchers. So we have to use controlled vocabularies. Here you have the definitions I found quite interesting, and because they are simple, plain, and direct. They are provided by the Getty Edu. Controlled vocabulary is an organized arrangement of words and phrases used to index content or to retrieve content through browsing or searching. And that's exactly what I was trying to describe. And that I think is not possible if you use the printed categories of MacLean I was just showing before. So a controlled vocabulary typically includes preferred and variant terms and has a defined scope or describe a specific domain. So what are the controlled vocabulary available now? Eh bien, we have now the beginning of something, I would say. And I don't know if Pietro is with us today, because I think that would it would be very interesting to have his opinion about the eagle vocabularies that are surely very useful, because as far as we will be many using them, that will afford us to map and to use it for all the projects which are linked to the Eagle database and Eagle project. So you see that there are the vocabularies, and they are categorized in different domain: material, execution technique, type of inscription, object type. And you remember that I used this category in my first lemma describing the Oros inscription at the beginning of the speech: decoration, dating, criteria, state of preservation. And when you go further inside the categories, you see how it works. So you have one preferred label and all the mapped other categories and terms that are used in different projects, and that can be linked together in different languages, but also as different descriptive categories. Also useful, if you are interested in these questions of controlled vocabularies, is this digital classicist page devoted to the questions of vocabularies, and it makes a very useful difference between the vocabularies and the other type of what sometimes you call vocabularies, sometimes is called also taxonomy or even ontology. That is the system that is the model that allows to link words all together and to put a hierarchy between words, terms, and categories. And I think that in the study of inscription, we are yet at the beginning of the design of such a system, because what has been made in the Eagle project is very useful, but is, I would say, very Roman Empire oriented, and is not always topical for the Greek part of the world. Other system we have to use when we are speaking of inscription, as we said before, inscription are also artifacts, archaeological artifacts. So we have to compose also with the other conceptual reference model as the CDOC CRM, but also with icon class, which has been designed for all the art and iconography, because many times the inscription, and it's something that we have to notice, never Lucian spoke about any images linked with his inscription, so he is a man of the text. But generally, and when we speak of funerary inscription, we are in this general case, you have altogether images, sculptures, and text. So in Lyon, we are trying to build an epivoque, a small thesaurus, another one we'll say, but and what we will try to make is to put together names, definitions, alignments, traduction, but also images, because I think it must be it is very useful if you can see at the same time, when you are looking at a definition, an image of what you are speaking about. So I will finish with some conclusion. What we have seen today, looking for and looking at inscriptions in Lucian true stories, is that really inscription, as Lucian looked at them, he was really looking at what we are nowadays in a digital environment and in a digital age speaking about, that is, inscriptions that are at the same time text, monuments in a very defined topos. That was the original look, regard. That is again the way I think we have now, with the digital tools, the opportunity to edit inscription, not only as text, but also as objects. And that's what I want to conclude with. These two pictures, photograph, I took one in Delos, the other one in Delphi, associated with this very nice definition. An inscription, it's any text designed and displayed to be seen and read somewhere, so that all other men also may know. And I think that's a definition that is very close and closer than to the one that Lucianus was using and playing with when he was writing his true stories. So thank you very much for your attention, and I can answer you any questions you want to ask.
Michèle, thank you very much. I don't know if there are questions, so we have people in the Hangout. We also have other 2 viewers on YouTube. So please, if you have questions.
I will stop sharing my...
Yes, you can stop sharing. Okay, so now we see you again.
I'm back.
Well, maybe I can say something. Well, of course, it was very interesting because, yes, definitely inscriptions are not only text, are also monuments. We have to see them, to study them in the context. And in this case, it's interesting. We have inscriptions in a literary context, the text of Lucian, so another. And then, of course, the topic of reuse. I think that these your speech shows the importance of annotating the language, the Greek language, because in this case it would be nice to have the whole text of Lucian annotated, so put in a big database all these words and compare with other texts in order to understand even better the reuse made by Lucian, because inscriptions are mentioned in many texts for many reasons. In this case we have fake inscriptions by Lucian because it's not a sort of novel, but we have other cases. In Thucydides we have inscriptions, in Pausanias we have inscriptions for other goals, of course. But the use of inscriptions in literary texts is important. And sometimes we know inscriptions which are now lost thanks to literary texts. So it's, of course. So there are many. So we have, of course, today we have seen many things, and the digital tools allow us to deepen our knowledge of these texts. And definitely we need annotation, so maybe also I am thinking linguistic annotations of these literary texts to compare the text of Lucian with the real, well, in this case we don't have an original text because Lucian is creating new inscriptions, but we can compare his fake inscriptions with original ones. And the use, it's interesting, the use of epigraphical technical terms by Lucian, so it's really fascinating. And I don't know if there are other. I wanted to ask you, can you say a bit more about your thesaurus in Lyon? So you are building, I know that you are working on the inscription in the Louvre, but in Lyon you said that you are producing.
Yes, we just began this open TESO. We use the open TESO system, so it's quite interesting because when we will have make some progress, we can open the platform for people to contribute to the thesaurus, and I would like it to have it more hierarchical, because what is, I think, the problem with the Eagle thesaurus is that there is no hierarchy. So they just gathered all the words, all the categories that are in the different projects, and they put them all together. But so you need to organize all this, and that's why it will not be an ontology, because that would be too much work to begin. But if we can have a thesaurus, that is to say, not only words, but just as econ class, you have classes, so you can see that in a word you can have different other words that are linked, and that is for a domain, and so on. So I think that would be quite an interesting topic to discuss one day in an editathon or somewhere else. And
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree. And well, I hope, given that we will have an editathon in a few weeks in Leipzig, focus on chronology and geography, but we can start talking about this problem. Especially, it's true, in Igor we have Latin inscriptions, we want more Greek inscriptions. This is another need we have, yes, for various reasons, of course. And then I definitely agree, so we need to classify inscriptions and, yes, not just to put everything there. Yes, there is a lot of work to do. For many reasons, of course. But you are starting, so you, in this tool that you are building, so you put inscriptions, you classify them, and you also...
It's just the thesaurus.
Okay.
That is, it's, I can explain another time how it works, because it's available for other domain, of course, and we have just a part of it, but it is also used for, at the beginning it's for librarians, of course, that are tagging the books with the system which is called Frantic for archaeological books. And so we said it would be
Michèle, Michèle, thank you for mentioning libraries, because as we say many times, libraries will have a fundamental role in collecting publications data, and this is a perfect example. So if we imagine libraries as repositories, but repositories working not only on putting like books but data, but also in arranging them, in putting metadata. So you mentioned that, and I think it's important, because libraries will have a great role in this. They will become more than publishers, so these institutional repositories will be fundamental to organize the material, in this case data, so also for inscriptions, for archaeology, for literature, for many other topics, including epigraphy, of course. So when we have to collect books about epigraphy in a library, there is a lot of work that has to be done for physical books, but also for data concerning epigraphy, digital projects about epigraphy. So this is an excellent example. That's why we have to work with the libraries in this sense, also because they have developed many digital standards for collecting data and metadata, also for ancient fields, classical fields, including epigraphy. And yeah, we still, if there are other questions, this common session was very intense again, but very instructive, I think, with text, so we could follow it.
And I thought that would be. I thought it could be useful to just to show to people, to remind to everybody that we have very useful tools in the Perseus and in the Phi, because that's the basics. And students have to learn first to use nicely and correctly all the tools that are in the Perseus library. And I just I understood that it's at the beginning. You have to begin by the beginning, and it's not and it's not useful to go to very difficult systems and so on. They have to learn that the Perseus offers many resources, and to just to learn to use them. So the vocabulary tools is very useful, and I thank you, Mitko, for saying also the Homer library for the Chicago Homer, of course. I should have thought to look at that.
I thank you for the ideas. This gives me very good ideas for my own course that I'm developing right now, because it will be on similar things, the relationship between literary and real inscriptions and epigrams. It was very instructive. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, and then definitely, so in Perses we have, well, the dictionary is the Little Scott, so a great resource for, and then text. So it helps students to understand that we have to go back to the sources. First of all, read the sources. That's what I have learned as a student, what I'm trying to do as a scholar, but never forget that. Go back to the sources. And also when you study inscriptions, where you go to archaeological site, always reading the sources and learning how to read them, because so this relationship between philology, in this case philology, epigraphy, archaeology, altogether, it's not easy to deal with all of them or to be experts in this field. Of course, is impossible, but always try at least to talk with other scholars, experts. So epigraphists have to talk with archaeologists, with philologists. So we know that it's not easy sometimes, but this is something the tools, I think, because it's really it's really an interdisciplinary field. So the digital humanities help us to talk with other scholars, so not to be alone in our field. So, okay, now it's 6:16. We have to end this common session. So, Michèle, thank you, because you have many things. As I said at the beginning, you have you are a very active member of Sunoikis, so thank you for your support, for your work. We have your class outline, so everything is there with a description, with links to the text of Lucian, with links.
And I will send you the PDF. So that,
yes, thank you. So I can put also the PDF on GitHub, where we have everything, including the live broadcast. And so see you next Wednesday. We will we will have another French guest, Aurélien Berrat from Paris, and we will go back to the Odyssey. Yes, Homer. So another interesting pronunciation. So. Yes. Okay. So thank you very much. Have a good night and see you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Au revoir. Bye.